And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Bryan Voch are here. We have not run out of things to talk about because we have this eventful Cowboys offseason to tap in with y'all. So don't expect us to go away until the actual Cowboys go on break, and then we'll go on break. And we'll be right back for camp and all that. Hang tight. Big stuff coming. I know we keep saying hang tight. But
no. This is
y'all like to forget. Y'all like to forget. So just remind y'all, hang around.
I know people are getting tired of it, but trust me, this is where we're at, where we need to, exactly where I need to be, where you need to be, and very soon, very, 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 very soon.
Bryan's gonna actually start commenting on y'all when y'all go follow him on Twitter and social media. He's actually gonna start back responding when this news comes out. So y'all be ready. Me and Bryan coordinated white on purpose today. That's just how we feel about what's going on today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what, Bryan Voch? It's something else interesting. You got one of them shirts in every color. You know what I'm saying? I be having the same kind of stuff going on. I be having one thing in all the different colors. That's funny, Bryan. But anyway, you had a question for me, Bryan.
I do. And you were talking about when you and I were pre-show meeting a little bit. We were talking about, hey, keeping things going.
Yeah.
Each show take a different position.
Yes, sir.
Take a different position and see, where we are. How do you feel about these positions? Is there more they can do? Is it a June 1st thing? Where are we at the position? I know that you and I just were talking about, let's start with the wide receivers.
Yes, sir.
And because of Pickens being a out front, the Cowboys traded for a guy like that. And, we'll see. And so what I was curious, Voch, is that I'm going to give you some receiver combinations, and I want you to tell me. I want you to get your fancy pen out with your piece of paper. Yeah, there you go. That's a nice pen, by the way. Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc.
Come on, man.
But I hope one day I work hard enough to get a Mont Blanc like you have.
You a rich man, Bryan. Go ahead.
But I want to do this with you. You have Lamb, you have Pickens.
Yes, sir.
Where do they fall among these receiver groups?
I love this question, Bryan. Let's do it.
Chase and Higgins.
They are not. They are not better than Chase and Higgins, in my opinion. Even though, Bryan, I think most of that relationship is carried by Chase. Higgins is good, but Chase is a dude.
Yeah.
I still got that combo, that pair, better than Lamb and Pickens.
How good is Lamb compared to Chase then?
I think Lamb is like a spot under Chase. I think what makes Lamb really good is the volume in which we get him the football. We give him the football a lot, so that makes him very productive. I think if they both had 10 catches, I think Jamar Chase would be a lot more productive than Lamb.
How do you see Pickens as compared to Higgins?
I think Pickens is better than Higgins, but I have to be fair that I've seen Higgins do it a bunch, and I haven't seen Pickens do it a whole lot. Now, the reason I haven't seen Pickens do it a whole bunch because one got Burrow and Pickens got Russell in them. But if I'm projecting with Dak, I could say that Pickens is better than Higgins. I just haven't seen that yet, so I don't feel comfortable enough saying it.
Okay. How about Hill and Waddle of the Miami Dolphins?
I think Lamb and Pickens are better than Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think all that run fast shit gets old at some point. And you kind of start to see Tyreek Hill not be the same Tyreek Hill that we've been seeing. And I simply think that Waddle's one of the fastest men in the league, but I don't think he's like that. I think that offensive system is important. And, Mike McDaniels make it very easy for those guys to be who they are. But we just talking about dudes. I'm taking Ceedee Lamb and George Pickens. 2 wide receivers, by the way, Bryan. And look, this is important also. I just talked about the Dolphins system and how fantastic that system is. Lamb and Pickens both are coming from some of the worst offensive play calling and scheming and route treeing that I've seen in the league, and they're still productive despite that. I'm taking Lamb and Pickens, Bryan Voch.
All right.
Damn right.
Brown and Smith from the Eagles.
Now, Brian, people ain't gonna like me saying this.
Oh, I know they're not going to like you saying this, but you're going to say Lamb and Pickens over these two dudes.
That's how I feel, Brian Bros.
I know you do.
That's how I feel. I think I've seen AJ Brown kind of go away sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Now what he's good at, he's really good at. Yakking people, the 9-ball,
Downfield.
the slant, and like the little screen game. He's really good at those things. I think Devontae Smith is a better receiver than him. That's just how I feel.
Sure.
Route running, catching, all that stuff. I think Lamb is better than both. Mm-hmm. And I think Pickens is what they are. I think Pickens is in the same tier as what they are. I don't see Smith or Brown as top 5 receivers. I don't see that. I see Lamb as one, and I see Pickens in that same category as them.
Okay, so far you have Chase and Higgins, Lamb and Pickens, better than Hill and Waddle.
Yes, sir.
Better than Brown and Smith.
Yes, sir. I sound like a homer, but it is what it is, Brian. We're gonna do it.
Jefferson and Addison of the Minnesota Vikings.
Now, Brian, this one confuses me because I've seen people incredibly high on Jefferson and Addison. Now, if you want to go to the Jefferson carrying the weight side, I would agree with you. Jefferson carries a lot of weight in that thing, and Addison is good.
Addison got, 68 catches, I think?
That means they threw the ball to him a lot. Addison's good, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jefferson's carrying most of that weight there. Now, Jefferson is a better receiver than Lamb, but they in the same group to me. They both cousins, but I think Jefferson's a little better than Lamb. I think Pickens is a good deal better than Addison, Brian.
Okay. So you once again give Lamb.
I got Lamb
and Pickens
and
the nod over. So now it turns into, again, Chase and Higgins.
Yes, sir.
Lamb and Pickens.
Yes, sir.
Hill and Waddle.
For sure.
Brown and Smith. Jefferson and Addison. Just we can maybe figure out another time, another day where those other guys rank in here.
It's all right.
All right. How about St. Brown and Williams from the Detroit Lions?
I love those guys, Brian Bros. But just like your last crew, I think neither one of those gentlemen are better than CeeDee Lamb. And I think Pickens is about what they are. I think Pickens is cousins with both of them. I think Pickens is physically better. To be fair, I've seen Amon-Ra do it really well. Yeah. I've seen him produce really well, to be fair. Jameson maybe hasn't been the guy that I thought he was going to be coming out of Bama and Ohio State. Mm-hmm. But I do think Pickens is who they are. He hasn't done it like St. Brown. I think St. Brown's led the league in receiving yards once.
Yeah.
But I also think that's probably because they throw the ball to him a bunch.
Right.
But CeeDee's better than both. So I'll go CeeDee and Pickens over St. Brown and Williams.
Lamb and Pickens still stay in second place. One more combination for you. Got a couple more.
Let's do this.
How about Evans and Godwin, Tampa Bay?
I think this is actually close, Brian. I think this is actually close. I don't want to disrespect Mike Evans too much because Mike Evans got 1,000 yards receiving every single year, and everybody can't do that. CeeDee Lamb can't even say that. Yeah. And I think also what's impressive with Mike Evans is that he's done this with Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, and a bunch of list of nonsensical characters. I don't think C.J. Godwin is in the conversation.
Often injured, but when healthy,
sure.
Really, really good.
He's really good when he's healthy. I just don't think he fits in this conversation when we talking about, the Chases and the Jeffersons and all that. You know what I mean? So, man, Brian, I'll say that my Dallas Cowboys wide receivers. I quit smiling, Brian. Quit smiling. I love Mike Evans, man. But look, Mike Evans. See, look, Brian. Look, Mike Evans on the way out.
You were trying to talk yourself into. This two were better than.
See, Brian, this is what makes this Cowboy combo really good. I said this on Will Steele's show. I haven't said it with you.
Shout out to Will Steele.
We've always had Miles Austin in his prime, but Dez would be a young boy, or Dez would be in his, or Dez would be getting old, and Terrence Williams, you know what I'm saying, wasn't really a guy like that. Or we'll get Amari Cooper in his prime, and Ceedee was a young guy. And maybe Gallup wasn't as good as what Cooper was. Now Lamb is a guy, then Gallup ain't really what that is. Brian brought us. Lamb and Pickens are both in their prime. In their 24, 25-year-old prime. Mike Evans is older. On his way out. You know what I'm saying? So what I give a lot of credit to, Brian Brothers, are these two young wide receivers in their prime still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Tyreek Hill a couple of years ago, man, you on to something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Lamb and Pickens this year. I'm projecting Pickens to go up. And Lamb might catch less passes because Pickens is here, but we might be more efficient as a Brian, wait till we talk about running back day and I talk about what these wide receivers do for the damn run game. Brian, we might finally have some balance here because we got two young studs in a prime. I can't give Mike Evans and Godwin the nod over these two young gangsters in their prime, bros.
Would you make Lamb and Pickens number one if they had Joe Burrow at quarterback?
I think Dak Prescott is very comparable to Joe Burrow. Burrow's probably the better quarterback. Burrow's the better quarterback, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Dak is comparable. You know what I'm saying? If we just talking about passing of the football in a regular season game, I don't see much of a difference there. Now, if you want to talk about postseason, that's a whole nother talk.
Yeah.
Playoffs, that's a whole nother talk. We talking about a regular season game, Dak Prescott 7-on-7 throwing the ball. We ain't got to worry about it running. We got the same O-line. Brian, Dak is very comparable to Joe Burrow. Most of my excitement comes from the idea that Dak is the damn quarterback, honestly.
Well, see, that's why I think that I have problems with the combination of Hill and Waddle because the health of Tua.
I didn't even factor in quarterback. I just assumed everybody got this same quarterback with a 99 Madden rating. That's what I assumed in my mind. Now, if we start talking about quarterbacks, then you might, hey man, this Lamb and Pickens thing.
Do that real quick.
Okay, cool.
Do it real quick. Just rank them real quick.
Cool.
Rank. Okay, here you go. Go Cowboys, Cincinnati.
Go
Cincinnati. Okay. Miami.
I'm taking Cowboys over Miami because Tua gets hurt.
Okay. Hurts
is a running back, Brian Bros, but they got everything so good over there. They got that O-line, that running back over there, Brian. You know what I'm saying? But but to be fair, by the passing metrics, Brian, Hurts be having 150-yard passing games and shit. You know what I'm saying? So Hurts ain't tearing it up in the passing game like that. He will in the Super Bowl. I give him that. I don't like the Eagles, but in the Super Bowl, that motherfucker go out there and throw for 300 yards. Please.
Better playoff quarterback than regular season quarterback?
I'll say Super Bowl. Because he'll still have these conference championship games where he'll throw for 115 yards and he get credit for it. Dak will never have nothing like that. But as a Super Bowl guy, he's got metal. He's got grit, Brian, bro. I'll give Jalen Hurts that. He don't shy away like mine do.
How about Minnesota's out of the mix because it's J.J. McCarthy, right? We will find out with Jefferson and Addison. We'll find out about them.
We'll see.
They might not. Okay, how about Goff at Detroit?
I think I want to see what they look like without that play call over there. I'm very curious to see what they look like without that play call over there. They got players. They got dudes over there. I just want to see what they look like.
So I kind of know what you think of Baker Mayfield here too.
I actually like the idea of the old quarterback rebranding and going somewhere else. I really like that idea, Brian. But you're damn right. I'm not that high on Baker Mayfield, but I do like him better than where he was at first, Brian.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
So you on your list,
yes, sir,
had the Cowboys as the second best only behind Chase and Higgins.
Yeah, what you want me to say, Brian? That's how I feel. I think CeeDee Lamb is a top 3 receiver, and I think Pickens, with what he's done with who he got, I think he's on the way to something special.
All right. Play this game. Just do it over the number 2s. Take Pickens.
Okay,
Higgins. We've talked about that.
Okay, cool.
We talked about
Higgins over Pickens. Sure.
You got Higgins over Pickens?
I got Higgins over Pickens because I got to see Pickens do it a little more. I've seen Higgins be a great wide receiver too.
You talked about Waddle.
I don't care nothing. I don't care nothing about Waddle running fast.
You got Pickens over Waddle.
Got Pickens over Waddle.
Smith over Pickens.
I'll take Smith over Pickens, Brian.
Addison.
I take Pickens over Addison.
Williams, Detroit.
I take Pickens over Williams. But I'll take St. Brown over Pickens, but that depends on how you feel. But I'll take
No. I just said the number 2.
I'll take Pickens over Jameson Williams. Yes, sir.
And then Godwin from Tampa.
I'll take Pickens over Godwin. Sure would.
What if I threw Puka Nacua at you at the Rams?
Now Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams.
I was gonna bring them up too.
That Rams crew is better than his Cowboys crew, I would say.
Ooh.
I would say that.
So you have Adams and Nacua over Lamb and
Pickens. I think the only reason people kind of sleeping on Adams because he just played like some nonsense at the Jets, and he played and this Raiders run wasn't all that good. I still think Devontae Adams can play some real ass football, and with Stafford throwing the football and with Sean McVay calling plays, I think Adams going to be right back in that conversation as one of the better. He's one of my top 5 wide receivers that I was just mentioning earlier. Devontae Adams still a top 5 receiver for me. And Puka Nacua is productive in that system, Brian. Skill-wise, Puka Nacua may not be better than these cats skill-wise, but by the play, Puka's a top receiver in this league, Brian.
I was thinking about not even including those guys, which I didn't initially, but then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw these guys in there. And then so basically you would have that Cowboy crew behind
the Rams.
Behind the Rams.
Yes, sir.
So it'd be Bengals, Rams,
yes, sir.
Cowboys is what you would have.
Yep, they're third.
Yep. Who's the most overrated in that group?
The most overrated wide receiver group or the most overrated receiver in all that group?
The most overrated of the pairing. Which team has the most overrated group?
Shit. It'll have to be the Rams because we ain't seen them do it together, right? We haven't we ain't seen the Cowboys. But yeah, this is the Rams. Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Dolphins never came to mind.
Oh, out of everybody? Oh yeah, the Dolphins overrated as hell.
Everybody. I
don't look at Jalen Waddle like that. I think Jalen Waddle's a very productive, fast running receiver in a really good system. I don't think Jalen Waddle can go to Cleveland tomorrow and still be great. I think Tyreek can, but I don't think Jalen Waddle can be that guy.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I like what you did, man. That's pretty good.
Let me ask you this, Brian. How fast you think this pairing of Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas is gonna kick off and help Trevor Lawrence if we just in draft mode still? How does that work?
I was talking to my guys pre-draft about Brian Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, man, he goes, these guys down there, they're like, we've had a lot of receivers come through here, spent money on receivers, a lot of them. The draft gods blessed us with this guy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to take long. I really don't. And I think, did you see where Hunter got mad at the coaching staff for not playing him on defense at all during the mini camp?
No, I didn't see that, but
he got mad.
That's fire. That's what he said.
I think he's going to be a really good wide receiver in this league.
Yeah.
I think that's where they're going to play him. That's where I would play him. I mean, we've talked about that a bunch.
That's tough, Brian. That's tough. Asking him to play both, but I think he could be really good at either right now. But I don't think the Jaguars trade up to just play him in one place.
They might.
They might.
If you had to say, one of these wide receivers.
Yes, sir.
Every year we ask for Tolbert to be that guy. What's going to happen to Tolbert this year?
Well, Brian, I'm glad you asked. This is one of my wide receiver questions for breaking down this Cowboy roster.
Yeah.
Brian, I had a tweet the other day. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't answer it if you asked me.
No, I asked you nothing. You know who the rapper T.I. is?
Okay, I've heard of this. Go ahead.
Okay. It's just a gif of T.I. going like this. Okay. My tweet was the George Pickens trade. Hold on. I love the George Pickens trade so much it made me feel good about the Mingo trade.
Oh.
And then in there I went pre-Pickens. Jonathan Mingo doesn't move the needle.
Yeah.
Post Pickens, I had a second round grade on him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. You look at you smiling. That's where I'm at with it. So, Brian, this is how I felt. I felt like if George Pickens wasn't here or the Cowboys didn't have an adequate wide receiver,
you would feel terrible about this group if George Pickens wasn't here.
Terrible. Because now you have Mingo and Tolbert as a part of your 11 personnel group. And they're best buds and they high five and they go, yeah, bro, we're going to get this out the mud like Dennis Houston used to do. But Brian, in 11 personnel, one of them boys got to sit on the bench. Now, instead of them high fiving each other, they got to fight for their spot on 11 personnel. And I honestly think, to my soul, Brian, I think George Pickens is going to beat Jalen Tolbert out with flying colors. I don't care that Jalen Tolbert led the league in receiving touchdowns last year. Led the team. I don't know if I said league or team. Led the team in receiving touchdowns last year. That don't bother me because now the whole configuration has changed. We got an X now. You know what I'm saying? We got an X/Z dude now. So instead of us having two move guys, because CeeDee Lamb is a move around guy, Tolbert is a move around guy. Instead of that, now you can go, all right, Pickens is most likely going to be one of these outside guys. Mingo is most likely going to be one of these outside guys. And they not going to move unless Lamb go out there and we switching stuff around. So now if you put Jalen Tolbert out there, we've said this before, Jalen Tolbert is a less good CeeDee Lamb. Now, if you put Jalen Tolbert out there, you're getting worse on purpose, Brian Brothers. That's what I'm talking about. You're getting worse on purpose if you put Jalen Tolbert out there because he does the things that Lamb does. At least if you put Turpin out there, Turpin does something different that all the rest of those guys do, Brian. You put Jalen Tolbert out there, that's damn CeeDee Lamb. But when you ain't got no wide receivers, hell yeah, Jalen Tolbert could be your leading touchdown receiver on your team. I think Jalen Tolbert in a weird spot, Brian Bros. He might have a little bit of seniority. He may have Dak favor, and the head coach play caller might love him. Pickens ain't going nowhere. Lamb ain't going nowhere. And I think Jonathan Mingo is just going to be flat out better than him, Brian Bros. That's how I feel. I don't even know if that answers your previous question, but it was on my mind at first. No,
it answers my question. It answers my question. So when we're sitting there watching practice in Oxnard.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna when that guy starts making plays,
Mingo
Mingo starts making plays. You're gonna turn to me and you go, "I told you, man. Told you. I told you on March 12th. Excuse me, May 12th.
May 12th.
I told you on May 12th. You have that much faith in Mingo right now.
It ain't that.
You didn't have that much faith going in before the trade, right?
It's not that I got all the faith in the world in Mingo.
You just, by the trade, you just eliminated having to play Tolbert is what you just did.
That's what Voch would do if my last name was Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I know what you did. You just basically said, Tolbert, I'm not waiting around for you anymore. You got to find a way to do this or we're going to do something else.
Mingo's contract is longer than Tolbert's, right? Mingo got like 2 more years. Isn't this Tolbert's last year? I'd be surprised if Tolbert make the team, Brian.
Whoa.
Let's talk. Contract year Tolbert. Let's just put him right here. So we got Lamb, Pickens, Mingo for sure, Turpin for sure. All the rest of those guys, just leaving. So Flournoy and Jalen Brooks, they're gonna be competing with Turpin. With Tolbert. Is Tolbert your fifth wide receiver now?
We got a couple of guys. About anybody in that UDFA group that you liked, or is that all practice squad guy?
Tolbert beating them. Josh Kelly and they're gonna be practice squad guy. I'm looking at Jalen Tolbert. How many wide receivers?
Just wave the hand. Just wave the hand.
Brian, this is a pivotal question. You ready for this question, Brian? This is the real stuff right here. Does Jalen Tolbert play special teams?
He's gonna have to, man.
Oh, we podcasting now, Brian Brothers. Brian, we podcasting now, Brian Brothers. Does your fourth/fifth receiver, assuming Mingo beats him, does he play special teams?
Has to.
Flournoy does.
If he dresses, yeah, absolutely.
Flournoy tackle. I've seen Jalen Brooks tackle people.
Flyer.
Yeah, do that little thing. Hey, look, man. But that's what happens when you go from I'm wide receiver 2. And then you bring in a wide receiver 2, and you gotta wash the dominoes again, Brian.
Do you think Tolbert's inconsistent play is what made this trade?
I don't know if the Jones recognized this because I don't want to give him too much credit. Maybe.
I can't say the trade because of Gallup, and I mean they probably thought that Gallup was still going to be here, right, and all that. Yeah. They probably thought that.
I think if you're gonna win in this league, Brian, I think you need 2 dudes at wide receiver, and I think the Cowboys feel that way.
We just walked our audience through some really good combinations of them. Yeah, I
think you need 2 dudes, and all the best winning teams. Maybe not the Chiefs, but I mean they got Pat in defense or whatever. But for the most part, if you're gonna be a serious contender in this league, you need to. I love what Pickens said when they tried to catch him and bait him. They said, "Who's the 1? Who's the 2?" Pickens said, "Hey man, the football I know play with 2 receivers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
at least 2 of them. That's fair. And I think if you're gonna be an elite team in this league, I think you need 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just think whether it be Will McClay, Ross Winchie, Chris Hall, whoever it was, tap somebody on the shoulder and say, "Hey man, I don't think we got enough, and I don't think Tolbert is enough. I don't think Mingo is enough." For sure. I think everybody feels real good about Mingo and Tolbert fighting for 3 and 4. We feel great about that.
Never felt good about them at being at 2, right?
Never
felt good about that, right?
Even the Washington football.
They did. They told us.
Even the Washington football Wizards, Brian Brothers, even they got Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuels working together. You know what I'm saying? Even if you look at the Giants, who the Giants got? They got Neighbors and somebody, don't they? They got Neighbors and somebody. You got to have it's perimeter guys, man. Mike McCarthy got that right. You got to have perimeter guys in this league, man.
Neighbors and Shepard and
well, that's why they ain't good because they ain't got 2. They ain't got 2 wires. They should look for another one. But
so you really do believe that Tolbert's spot on this team is in trouble.
I think when you build in a wide receiver room, I think you have to limit redundancies. You know what I'm saying? And I think Tolbert is redundant to what Ceedee Lamb is. He's just not good. If Tolbert was a little better, Tolbert would be a guy that lines up in the slot sometimes.
More consistent. There's a Steeler game, and then there's 3 games where we don't do anything.
Sure. Tolbert would line up in the slot, or he'll line up over on the other side. He'll catch the down under stuff. He'll jump over somebody sometime, but he's not vertical threat guy. He's what Ceedee Lamb is, but he's just not as good or as talented or as consistent as Lamb. Pickens is nothing like Lamb. Mingo is nothing like Lamb. And Mingo is different enough from Pickens that you limit the redundancies. I think Mingo is more physical down under. I think Pickens is physical down, but he also goes vertical as well.
Goes vertical, yeah.
If we just looking at limiting redundancies in our wide receiver room, Turpin ain't like none of them. If we're just limiting our redundancies, Jalen Tolbert is Ceedee Lamb's cousin. They cousins. So why would you carry around a lesser version of Ceedee Lamb? The answer would be because we ain't got enough wide receivers, so we got to carry Jalen Tolbert. That's the answer. But man, you got other body types catching up. We got a vertical guy. Bryan, Jalen Tolbert coming out of South Alabama was our vertical guy. We was looking at Tolbert like a vertical jump ball guy.
Gallup was. I mean, and then you got Cooks, right? And then Cook, they never
figured it out. But Tolbert was supposed to be our contested catch vertical jump over you guy. He didn't live up to that.
Yeah, that's true.
So you take Pickens, you push everybody down the board now. It's crazy. And in college, Tolbert was like Pickens, but in the league, he's like Ceedee. It's crazy how that works out. But and he on a contract year? Man, go sign Cooper or something. He ain't like nobody. Cooper ain't like nobody in this room. I'm still trying to do that.
Are you really?
Bryan, I don't like the Philadelphia Eagles at all, but I will always give them credit.
But you give them credit for always going to get a veteran guy.
These people
they will go get Dotson.
So Bryan, this is what they did. They tried with Jalen Reagor, first round pick.
Yeah,
that ain't worked. They traded for Brown. They spent another first on Adams. Then they got some miscellaneous guys too, like Hightower from Penn State and the Southern Miss kid that ran fast. That didn't work. They called Julio Jones just to throw something at the position, just to try. That didn't work out. They sent a third to go get Jahan Dotson, another ex-first round pick. Bryan, them people don't get tired. Ain't no such thing as greedy. I was like, man, I would sign Cooper anyway. Somebody on Twitter was like, yeah, Voch, don't get greedy. Man, the Eagles is greedy. That's how they won a damn Super Bowl. Get greedy.
No, you're fair. You're fair.
Man, I'm signing Amari Cooper, and we finna push Tolbert down another slot. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Talking about this fantasy football and Madden, please.
Yeah. Hey, before we get out of here real quick, let me ask you something.
Please, Bryan.
This is just a different topic.
Go ahead.
I'm sure on Wednesday we'll get into the schedule release, and yours truly is going to do his very best to see if he can get these beforehand. He's going to try. Yes, we'll see how that plays. But the fact that the Cowboys have to travel to Philadelphia,
yes, sir,
in week 1 on a Thursday,
yes, sir,
I think the Cowboys have an advantage in one area: new staff.
Boy, Bryan, I love you to pieces, man. I think the Cowboys got a lot of advantages, Bryan.
Okay.
Not just staff, but look at roster change. The Eagles roster hadn't changed all that much. There's no scouting report on how Dak works with Pickens or how they plan on using him.
I think they got better at safety with their guy Makuba. Get rid of that.
Don't that suck though, Bryan? Don't it just suck to hear that? Don't it suck to hear that?
It does suck. It does suck. It does suck because Reed Blankenship was playing better for them.
Yeah.
Gardner Johnson, they saw what the problem was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maddox was the issue down the line. They fixed all that shit. But anyway. To your point though, Bryan, if you want to get a feel about what the Cowboys are going to do run game wise, you're going to watch Arizona Cardinals film and guess. And you might guess wrong.
Yeah,
you might guess incorrectly.
But remember what our line coach, remember what our OC told us. Yeah, remember what he said. He goes, "We're not going to do things we can't do."
Not gonna do that.
So you could work on pin and pull stuff and all that, and might not be what they do.
So we got scheme change, roster change, personnel change, like coaching wise, whatever, Bryan. But also too, Bryan, the past couple of years, the Cowboys have played the Eagles in like week 11 and week 14 or something. We don't know if Dak gonna make it that long.
Sure.
I don't even know if Dak gonna make it that long. At least I know Dak.
I think Dak's 3-3 at Lincoln Financial.
Dak hasn't lost a lot of games to the Eagles in general. That's another positive, Bryan. But to your point, I think there's something to the Cowboys scheme wise walking in ambiguous. They may have a lot more talent on their side. As of now, the Cowboys probably still got some room to work a little bit. Talent wise, but I think as long as you got 4, I think the fight's gonna be close, and I think the ambiguity of all the change you've made on your roster versus theirs. Now they got all off season to work on. It ain't like they got a week turnaround to get on your film, but I still think the Cowboys are ambiguous enough. To that point, to the Eagles season opener point, Bryan, I said this on socials today. You ain't see it because you don't like socials. But I was like, this is even more reason why we shouldn't play the earn the star, earn your keep thing with the rookies. I named three rookies in particular. I didn't name Revel because I don't know if hurt guy, whatever.
They're gonna work on him. They're working hard to get him on.
Booker need to be with the ones.
You said that.
And as far as the whatever your rotation is with the ones, Blue need to be rotating in and out with the ones.
There you go.
Donovan and Zaraku need to be working in and out with the ones because they need to be ready right now. They need to be ready.
Go.
They need to be ready. If you open up the season with like Cleveland or something like we did last year, hey man, we can afford I guess the Philadelphia Eagles, man, division game, conference game. Yeah. You don't want that to come back and haunt you at the end of the season. Plus, they got dudes on their side. You need all hands on deck to be ready. I don't want to see Brock Hoffman out there first, man. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Miles Sanders get rest before Blue does. I don't want to see that. Peyton Turner in the NASCAR package. Get that shit out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel.
I do think that, like I say, both teams have kind of changed personnel. Sure. People may be worried a little bit about Dallas not gelling. I think the one thing that we're going to see, Voch, this preseason is a change in how the Cowboys play preseason games. I think gone are the days of Mike McCarthy's rest everybody kind of thing.
That's going to get a little work. Not a lot, but a little bit.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I mean, there's going to be a lot of the same offense, maybe not a ton. There's things they're going to put in at OTAs that are going to carry to training camp, but they need to see that. They need to find that gel. They need to find that gel.
Hey, listen, man, bro, I tell you what, man. If anything, that was a big gripe of mine with Mike McCarthy. Like, man, we always trying to rest people.
Andy Reid's in the damn Super Bowl if you're playing his guys into the first quarter.
We're resting, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and we look rusty for 3 weeks. Yeah. Resting.
The defense looked bad. The offense looked bad. No. I think there's going to be a change. I think there's going to be a change with how they play preseason games.
Do you think?
Please tell me you're going to take a page out of the Andy Reid book where your guys play in the first quarter and you get work. Please tell me that.
Do you think because that's who Schottenheimer really is, or do you think he's seen Mike McCarthy's mistakes and he's fixing this on the fly? I
think two things. He's the new play caller. He has to get a feel for that stuff. And you can't just totally do it in, now maybe you could do it against the Rams or the Chargers if you want to do a little work that way. Mm-hmm. But overall, playing those games, nothing wrong with playing Dak Prescott for a couple of series. Letting him go. Now, people say if you get him hurt, well, hell, like the great Tom Moore said, he goes, hey, when Peyton Manning, he goes, what do you do if Peyton Manning gets hurt? He says, we don't work on effed.
Yeah.
This is what it is. But to me, I think you're going to see something different from this coach. Yeah. I think he needs to make sure that his team comes out of the gate well. No stumbling through week 5 and then kind of figure some things out. Be ready to go from the jump and OTAs, training camp, preseason, into the season. Need to see it all.
I'm not going to be like you, Brian, because you'll be out there for a whole month. Mm-hmm. But Oxnard, for the week I'm out there, boy, it is going to be some notes been taken. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a lot of interesting developments coming from it, Brian Bros.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting, Brian. But we'll cross that bridge whenever we get to it. Stay tuned, whether it be with Crown Global or whether it be with .com. I don't know how we're going to mix it up, but we'll do it. But go ahead. You had something else?
No, man. All good. Cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, we got starting to get little bits and pieces again of the schedule, so we'll figure that out. And then Wednesday's full-blown schedule release party. So hopefully we'll have all that beforehand.
And we'll sit right here and break it all down for you on the Doing All Right podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's normally not something I'm super excited about. Like, it's the schedule, who cares, whatever. But y'all love it, and we love what y'all love. You know what I mean? The customer's always right. You feel me? So it is what it is. All right? Y'all go in the comments and tell me if I'm goofy that I don't think that A.J. Brown is a top 5 receiver. I think Jamar Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Devontae Adams, Hills, Neighbors, and I think that damn Devontae Smith is better than A.J. Brown. But y'all go in the comment section, let me know. Yeah, where y'all rank all them characters? Tell me if I'm a homer for thinking that the Cowboys.
I'd love to read everybody's thought on that. I really would.
Please, we will be reading those at 5 in the morning. All right. Y'all be sure to follow me at VOCHLOMBARDI. He's BRYN Broadus. He might respond to you because we got some stuff coming, but don't hold your breath. Y'all hold it down till next time, y'all. Crown.